Join us as we strive to be disciples of Christ. Explore with us faith-building stories that highlight personal testimony of our Savior Jesus Christ. We actively seek out true conversion stories from members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Let's be real and talk about these incredible stories of faith and testimony of our Savior Jesus Christ. This is True Conversion. Let's be real. Welcome to another True Conversion. Let's be real. Today I have a very special guest with me. I have Kyler Hamilton. Kyler, how you doing today?
I'm great. How about you, Brennan?
I'm doing great. Doing absolutely great. I'm going to read a quick bio on Kyler, and then we're going to get rolling. So Kyler grew up in Provo, Utah, attended BYU for his Bachelor of Arts, and Missouri, or Mizzou for all those sports fans out there, for his master's in sports psychology. He's been teaching seminary and institute for 11 years, and he's married for those 11 years as well, with 4 children. And that's going to lead us to our guest, Kyler Hamilton, who's also the host of We Talk Of podcast.
Yeah.
Doing some big things. I'm loving what you're doing.
I don't know if they're big, but I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, you're doing great. But let's start with this, Kyler. For you, when did you first feel or know that you were converted to the gospel of Jesus Christ?
That's a great question. I feel like conversion is ongoing, right? And I think I have levels of conversion. I feel like I've been the most converted in my life right now. But when I felt like I was first converted to the gospel was when I was 18, 19 years old at Dix State University, which came with off the back of a lot of really poor decisions. So I was probably the beginning of my conversion, but right now I feel like I've become the most converted I've ever been, but it's still growing.
Nice. So what was the turning point for you then? You said on the back of poor decisions. What made you change that path? Because a lot of people, that Robert Frost, the 2 roads diverge, right?
Yeah.
What made you choose the path of Jesus Christ?
I mean, there's a few elements to it. I was, I feel like most of my life, I've really struggled with the gospel of Jesus Christ. And when I say that, I mean, I struggled with the culture of the Church of Jesus Christ Latter-day Saints. I struggled with the people in the church. I struggled with some of the history and the teachings of the church. And so, but that was more a cover up for all of my poor decisions. I don't know, I feel like in 5th grade is when I remember making my first big mistake. And I recognize that as so young, but I don't know. I just always found myself, if there was a wrong choice to be made, it seemed like I knew how to take that turn as hard as I possibly could. And so that, 5th, 6th grade, all the way up till my sophomore year of college. And my sophomore year of college is between the time 18, 19 years old. And so I just had an angelic mother who felt like she had a really good son. And maybe she had rose-colored glasses, but she really believed I was good. And I was not at the time. And I should correct that. My choices weren't good. I think we're all good despite our choices because we're made from God. But so I had this mom who kept calling and being like, hey, it's almost mission time. Hey, it's almost mission time. Hey, it's almost mission time. And I was like, yeah, this is not going to happen. And for a while, I was able to dodge the conversation. But when it got to a point where I came home from Dixie one weekend and my mom brought it up. It was just me and her in the kitchen. And I was like, because up to that point, it's like, hey, give me oh yeah, sorry, mom, I got class, or whatever excuse I could come up with to get out of the conversation. But that day she cornered me, and I was just like, oh freak, we're really about to have this conversation. And I I was definitely a mama's boy, but man, like I was just so lost. I just was so lost. And so I remember my mom being like, "Hey, you're turning 19 soon. It's time to get ready for your mission. Have you started meeting with your bishop?" And I just turned to my mom and I was like, "Mom, I'm not going to serve a mission." And she was like, "Why?" And she was like genuinely curious. Like she was like, "Why wouldn't you serve?" I was like, "What the freak are you talking about?" Like in my head, I was just like, "How have you not seen the writing on the wall?" But I was
Right.
just like, "Mom, I'm not worthy. And I'm never going to be worthy. Like I've done it all. Like there's really nothing your baby boy hasn't done. Like I've made a lot of bad choices." And with that, for whatever I was being very defensive. And so I was just like, because I remember like the look on her face was just like, "Really? Like you're not worthy? What?" And I just remember like kind of going after her. She's like, "Oh, Mom, like you're gonna be so disappointed." Because we lived in Provo, which I feel like is like the mecca of like, I don't know. I just have my own perspectives. But anyway,
Mecca
so
of stereotypes. Can we call it that?
yes. Yeah,
Yeah. Okay.
mecca
All
of
right.
stereotypes. And so I was just like, "Are you gonna be so disappointed because you have this black sheep son who's not going on a mission and it's gonna look so bad on the family?" And I was just reaming her. Like I was just going, and that's just not me. Like I'm usually pretty calm and collected, but I was like raising my voice. And luckily my dad was asleep because that wouldn't have passed in our household. But I was really going after my mom, and I could tell she was getting emotional. And that's kind of when I caught myself and I was like, "All right, bro, you need to like calm the freak down." And my mom, bless her soul, I still to this day have no idea how she responded this way. But she just turned to me and was like, "Kyler, I will always love you. Like, I don't, like, my love is not attached to your mission. I just want you to be happy. And I believe like the gospel of Jesus Christ brings happiness." And I remember looking at her and being like, "What? Like, what did you just say? Like, you love me, this piece of garbage son? Like, you love me?" And she was just like, "I just want you to go on a mission because I really believe it's going to be good for you." And I was just like, she's being so sweet, like so nice. And I'm just like, "Well, Mom, I'm never going. So get it off your radar. Like, get it out of your mind." And she was just like, "Okay, well, I want you to know I still love you." And just like walks out. And I know for a fact, my mom did the same thing every time. Like we had something like this. She would walk to her room, cry in her room, and be on her knees praying. So that next morning, I woke up and I was so pissed. And I don't even know why I was mad because she didn't do anything, but
It's
I
the
drove to,
walkout. The
yeah,
walkout gets you every time because then it's like,
yes.
what? That was it?
Yeah, dude, I've never actually connected that, but you're right. Like, I was just like, "No, come back here and fight with me." Like, you're
Yeah.
right. But I drove back home to Dixie State, 3.5 hours from Provo to Dixie. And I was just like, "How can my mom love me? That's insane." And my mom and me talked every day in college. So anyways, that week we did not talk. And my brother called me and was like, "Hey, you need to call mom." And I actually think he wrote me a letter. Yeah, he wrote me a letter and was like, "Hey, you need to call mom. She is so sad." And he had like said a few things like, "I know the church is true, Kyler. Like, you need to change your life." And so, but at the end, he was like, "Call mom. She's so sad. Please call her." So I called my mom and just like, "Mom, I'm really sorry. And I'm sorry. Like, I'm just not like my brother and not like my sister. Like, I've made a lot of poor choices." And that day she responded with like, "Okay, Kyler, like, I'll stop bringing up the mission, but will you just go repent? Just go repent." And I really believe like it'll all work out. And so I did. And then, yeah, my life was
Yeah.
never the same.
Wow. So did you end up serving a mission or no?
Yes, it's actually a pretty wild. You're asking questions. I got long answers for it.
Yeah, this is why we do this podcast. This is
All
why it's a
right.
little bit different
Okay.
from others. Please,
Okay.
please.
So I go repent and like super externally motivated, not motivated at all by the right reasons. But I was just like, all I have to do is go talk to this guy and I can go up, like, be done with this whole mission talk. So I hadn't been to church in a year and a half, 2 years, because my sophomore year, I never went to church at Dixie up to this point. So I go find my bishop's number, call him. I'm like, hey, we've never met, but I need to come talk to you and confess my sins. And just wonder when you can do that. And now I am where I am. I know for a fact that bishop was probably like, this is amazing. Like, another person coming back to the church. This is awesome. And like, so I go there that night. I think he met with me that night. And I remember, like, there's the executive secretary talking to me, and I'm just like, yeah, I just need to talk to this guy. Like, I don't want to talk to you. And like, being just the worst. I was just not being nice. And so finally get to the bishop's office, and this guy is so giddy that I'm there. Like, he's smiling ear to ear. And I like walk in, I'm like, listen, I don't know you, you don't know me. I legitimately don't want to hear a word out of you. I just need to tell you everything. And then I can call my mom and tell her I did what I was supposed to do. And then I can be done with all this. And like, that's it. And I remember he like went from like smiling to like, okay, yeah, that's cool. I was like, and I just went, like, I just was like started in 5th grade and went all the way to my sophomore year. And I mean, we're talking everything. And it was wild. I just remember talking about, yeah, and then this, like, I've done this. I'm like, yeah, basically everything, but here's this and here's that. And so I get done and I'm like, hey, appreciate you for listening. Like, see you later. And bless his heart, he just was like, can I share one thing? I was like, yeah, sure. Like, I just talked your ear off. Like, one thing won't kill me. And I'm pretty sure he took me to the woman caught in adultery. And he just like walked me through the story in his own words, but then he read like the last few verses. And he's like, do you see like how Jesus doesn't condemn her? And he's just saying, go and sin no more. And I was like, yeah. And he's like, Kyler, I just want you to know that's what Jesus wants you to do. And then he paused and he said, Kyler, do you know that Jesus Christ loves you? And up to that point in my life, I promise you, my mom, my dad, my siblings, I'm sure leaders have all told me Jesus loved me, but for whatever reason, when Bishop E. Croft said it, I was like, what? Like, there's no way. You just heard the story. You just heard everything. How can you tell me that there's a God who loves me after hearing that? And I was just like speechless. I really had no idea what to say to this man. And then he was just like, Kyler, do you like want to change? And I was just like, and once again, I'm like, I don't know how to answer these questions. I've never been in this situation before. And he's like, do you even know how to change? And I'm sitting there like, brother, like, you're reading my mind. I have no idea what we're talking about anymore. And then he asked me, he's like, have you ever read the Book of Mormon? I was like, no, I've never read the Book of Mormon. And here I am, 18 years old, about to be 19. And I'm sure every kid he's talked to, and probably not every kid, but a lot of the kids he talks to, they have. And so this is what he said that like just hooked me. He was like, Kyle, I want to give you an invitation. I want you to read the Book of Mormon every day, 10 verses a day until you finish it. And here's my promise. And I just remember his finger. He's like, I promise that if you read this book, you'll overcome every temptation that you face, every addiction that you've developed, and you will overcome all the sins and personally come to know Jesus Christ. And I was like, in my head, I was like, what? But my body, I was like, okay, buddy. Like, and I was like, I think I even was like, can I go now? Like, I was just like so uncomfortable, didn't know how to handle it. So I was just like, okay, thanks. Like, yep, cool. And I leave, and I'm having like these back-to-back experiences. My mom loves me now. Like, I know it. She said it. Jesus loves me, and I can like discover all this through the Book of Mormon. Like I'm just like in my head, everything's imploding. Like nothing is normal.
Right.
So I go home and I know for a fact, like my mom had put a Book of Mormon somewhere in my apartment. So I'm like scouring through, I'm looking through my clothes, and I have this like little cubby next to my bed. And so I pull open this drawer, and at the bottom drawer under a few things was this blue bag copy of the Book of Mormon. I remember I grabbed it, and then I walked into my living room, and I was like sitting in my living room looking at this book. And all I could think was, how could this man bet on this book? Like he literally just wagered everything. Like I promise you that if you do this, and I'm like, this guy doesn't even know me. How could he? So I don't know how long I sat there, but I remember sitting there for a good long time, just looking at the front cover of the Book of Mormon, Another Testament of Jesus Christ. And then I just opened it and started reading. And like, why? I don't know, but I just did. And I started reading 10 verses every day. And I'm not like, me and this guy aren't meeting again. I just started reading. And then things just started happening. Like when I testify of God, like I reflect on this often because I'm like, someone explain it to me without using God. Like you tell me a story like this, and you tell me how this all works out without a supreme creator who knows his children, who has divine design. So I'm reading the Book of Mormon. Simultaneously, I'm walking onto the Dixie State football team, and I was working out with this kid from Tennessee, and we're just chopping it up. He's black, I'm black. We're just talking. It's not about race, but painting a picture for everyone. And we're doing this training for the conditioning camp. And so you're doing sprints, and then you're like breathing really hard to try to calm down, go again. And this kid walks up, and in my head, like looking back, I know I thought like this is the nerdiest kid, like my perception. Now that I see, like now that we're best friends, I'm like, this kid, the coolest kid ever. But at that time, I was so distorted. And I was like, I knew, I was like, this kid is definitely a churchgoer. And he walks up to me and he goes, Cameron Hamilton? I was like, no. My name's Kyler. I'm his older brother. And he's like, oh my gosh. And I got this my whole life. Like me and my brother, everyone always thought we were twins. He's like, bro, like I thought you were your brother. Like you guys look so alike. And I'm like, yep, got it my whole life. And once again, I'm just like being a jerk.
Thank you for that.
I feel like I was like always a nice kid, but man, like for whatever reason, this time period of my life, I was just not someone that was kind. And blessed, like so grateful that my buddy like just kind of pushed through it. And so like, I tell him like, yeah, that's my brother, wrong guy. Go back to talk to my buddy from Tennessee. We're using all sorts of language. And then he's just standing there. And I'm like, can we help you? Like, and he's like, what are you doing? I was like, brother, what does it look like we're doing? Like, we're running. Me and my boy are running.
This is not a hard concept. Everyone you can drive by on the freeway and look down to Utah Tech and be like, oh, okay, they're conditioning right now. Like,
yes, dude. I was just like, and he's like, can I join you? I was like, sure. Like, what position do you play? He's like, oh, I play tight end. I was like, well, I'm a receiver and he's a D lineman. Like, we're all running different times. And he's like, oh, that's fine. I just want to work out with you guys. I was like, okay. And this started like this weird attachment. And so like that started it. But then every day at practice, this kid is just like we'd be in film study, like, hey, can I sit by you? I'd be like, sure. Like, and he just
sorry, I don't mean to interrupt, but
no,
I can picture it because when I played college ball, like there were times where you would have that one person that was just, it wasn't really socially awkward, but it was just like latch on and you'd be like, you have to ask to sit next to me? Like,
yes,
bro, we're all here. Like,
yes,
everyone's sitting by everyone. So I could picture it
Oh,
perfectly.
dude. And it was, yeah, I mean, everything he did, I was always just like, brother, what is your deal? Like, what? But he started to grow on me. Like, I recognized he had talent. I recognized that he was a really hard worker. And that's like, he was just like, I just want to work out with you. I just want to work out with you. And I was like, okay. And it was weird because he was a scholarship and I'm a walk on. But I was progressing through the team really quickly. Like, I was, started just as a nobody, got to the first team. But, so what happens is we go through Hell Week. We finish on a Sunday. And Utah Tech, I mean, really every college, they have something on a Sunday, but except probably for BYU. But anyways,
Yeah.
so we have our coach is like, hey, meet here 5 in the morning. We're going to have a quick walkthrough. Then we'll send you off. That'll be end of camp. So everyone wakes up, butt crack of dawn. We're absolutely gassed, right? You have 2-a-days in the hot sun of Dixie or St. George. And so we have our quick meeting. We had a little film study, we did a walkthrough. And I remember it's like dark. It's dark. And so we finished. The coach is like, hey, great camp, everyone. Great job. We're going to do some postings. Like, go check out where you're on the depth chart, all that good stuff. And we get a break. And then that kid just walks directly to Jens. He's like, hey, what are you doing today? I'm like, we just finished camp, my boy. Like, I'm going to sleep till Tuesday. What are you going to do? And he was just like, no, I'm going to go to church today. You should come with me. I was like, nah, man, I'm not church going. Nah. He's like, no, come on, bro. Come with me. And mind you, like throughout the week, we had worked out. So he'd picked me up a few times and like, we'd started to build this friendship, but I was just like, hey, Jen's like, I know we're still fresh, man, but like, that's just not me. He's like, nah, man, come on, come. I'm like, no. He's like, you know what? I'm just going to come pick you up. I was like, Jens, don't come to my house. Don't you dare come to my house.
Because
like,
if he shows up, you're gonna be like, oh, I feel guilty. I gotta go.
oh, dude. And at that time, I was so prideful. I was like, it doesn't matter if you show up. Like, you don't have the key. But here's what happened. So I don't know what time church was, but I take a nap from 6 to whenever, and I remember I just hear this loud pounding on my door. I mean, just almost like someone's got a fire outside and they need me. So I wake up and I'm like, what the freak? I look at my phones. Jens has called me a bunch of times. I'm like, oh, bro, no way. So I just, in my head, I was like, I'm just going to be so quiet that he's going to like wonder if I'm here. And so he's banging on my door. Kyler, open the door. I'm like, yeah, I'm not going to. Well, my apartment was it was the first room. And the rooms 2 through 6 were all off of like, there was no ledge to go and be able to walk to get to the back windows. Mine was the only one that had a window that you could walk the ledge and knock on the window. Jens walks around to the ledge, starts pounding on my window. I know you're in there. Open the door. And I'm like, I'm not opening this door. And I'm not kidding, like 5 minutes straight, just this dude is just banging on everything. My door, my window, blowing up my phone. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is insane. So finally I get like so mad that I open my door. I'm like, Jens, what is your problem? And he just walks in my house and he's like, let's go to church. I'm like, I'm not going to church with you. He's like, we're going to church. I was like, brother, seriously, I'm not going. And he's like, no, come on. And I'm like, no, freak you. I'm not coming. And he's just like, go get your clothes on. And I'm like, and I was just like, I was so mad. But I remember I was just like, the thought came to my head, like, he's not leaving. He's serious. So I go get my stuff on. I haven't worn it the whole time I've been at St. George. We go to church. I don't know like what happened that day. Like I couldn't tell you anything about the day other than the same bishop I repented with is the same bishop of this ward. And I'm sitting there like, no freaking way. Right. And so I'm sitting there like, oh my gosh, like that's that dude. And Jens is like sitting with me, just he's ear to ear grinning. I'm mad. I'm like hunched over trying to sleep. And I don't know, but after sacrament, I remember Bishop E. Croft. Like, how you doing? Shakes my hand. Man, Miss, she been thinking about you. I'm like, and we go to second hour. We had this thing, right? Whatever. Third hour, go home. Jens drops me off. He says, hey, what are you doing tonight? It's like, bro, I told you I'm trying to sleep till Tuesday. And he's like, hey, there's a fireside tonight at the Institute. I'm like, no, bro, don't. No. He's like, I'll just pick you up, man. I'll be here at 6:30. I was like, bro, I'm serious. Don't do it. And he's like, see you at 6:30. And he leaves. I'm like, so I kid you not. I go to sleep. I'm like, I took like melatonin. I'm like, I'm going to sleep forever. And so I pass out and I wake up and I kid you not, it was like 6:30 on the dot. And I was like, I can't go back to sleep. I was so wired, so awake. And I just knew, I was like, he's going to be here any minute. You might as well just get ready. So I put on some stuff, put on my Dixie State hoodie. He knocks on the door. I open the door. I said, let's go. And he's just like, oh, like he's like so geeked that I'm like, so we go. I'm just trying to sleep in the car. I'm trying to sleep all, we get to there. There's a bunch of football players there, and I'm saying what's up and, talking to people. And then this old dude gets up. And they probably had somebody introduce him, but in my head, this old dude gets up. And this is the first line he says. He said, I want to tell you the greatest decision I ever made in my life between choosing to serve a mission for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints and playing collegiate football. And I was like, come on, bro. I'm like, shut up. No. And so I kid you not, like my head was down still, but the whole time he's talking, it felt like he was talking directly to me. It felt like he wrote every single word for me. And mind you, during this time, like I've had this invitation to read the Book of Mormon. I had been still doing it. And so like my heart's starting to open up. This guy's talking and I'm like, and in my world, I was just like, what the freak is going on? Like, what is going on? And so then after the fireside, my buddy Jen's same question, hey, what are you doing after this? I'm like, bro, I'm not doing anything else with you. He said, well, me and some of the football boys are going to get with these girls. I was like, just kidding. Like, I'm coming. And so
you changed my mind.
Yeah. We go to this girl's house and my mom calls me. Now, she called every Sunday. It wasn't unusual. And, things have been rekindled because I went and repented, did all the things.
Yeah.
And so she calls me and I was in this girl's house, but when I saw my mom's name pop up, I don't know why, but like, I felt like overcome, right? I have this experience at church, Bishop Croft. I have this experience with this fireside. And so my mom calls, I'm like, this is a cherry on top. And I like these emotions, these feelings that I had never had before in my life all of a sudden pop up. So I'm like, yeah, my mom's calling. I'm gonna step outside. I answer the phone. My mom asks the same question every Sunday. Hey, how was church today? And usually in the past, I would lie and just say, oh, church was great. What'd you learn about Jesus? What else? But this time I was like, she's like, hey, how's church today? I was like, yeah, church was actually pretty good. I think she could tell, like, oh my gosh, like, I'm serious. And she's like, what happened? And I just like burst into tears. I said, Mom, like, here's everything that's happened since I've done this repentance thing. Like, I'm reading the Book of Mormon. I've been doing this, been praying, I went to church today and then I went to this fireside and like, I don't know what's going on, Mom, but I feel like something's happening. Like someone's reaching out to me. And my mom just started crying. She said, I just got on my knees and I really felt like I needed to call you and ask you about today.
Wow.
And I was like, Mom, what is going on? Help. Like, I sincerely don't know what's going on. What is going on? And she said, that person reaching out to you, Kyler, is God. And I was like, what? She's like, everything we've taught you, like growing up, this is what we've been talking about. Like, this is God. And I'm like, this like feeling, right, of just like the burning in the bosom, right? That description, like my whole body was on like fire, spiritual fire. And I remember being like, I don't even know what that means, right? So I go back in, play games, whatever happens that night. And practice starts, right? We go back to practice. Camp is over, but we're going to practice. We're getting ready for like the spring game or a fall camp game and all that. the red and white game, and then we'd start the season. And sometime during that week, I was reading in the Book of Mormon, and I read 2 Nephi 16. And I remember distinctly before that prayer, or before I read, I prayed, and I remember being like, God, do you need something from me? Do you, like, what? Like, are you trying to tell me something? And that was probably the most sincere prayer I'd said in the last few years of my life. And this is 2 Nephi 16. It is an Isaiah chapter in the Book of Mormon. It's Isaiah 6 in the Bible. And it's when Isaiah is receiving his prophetic call. And when the Lord comes before Isaiah, comes and his train fills the temple, like his glory just fills this holy house. And Isaiah recognizes, like, oh my gosh, like that place is holy, but this guy is holy. And so he says, woe is unto me, for I am undone, because I am a man of unclean lips, and I dwell in the midst of a people of unclean lips, for my eyes have seen the King of the Lord of hosts. And I don't even know how this happened, because like I look now as a teacher, and I'm like, this is the chapter that resonated with you? Like, this has so much imagery and depth. But at that time, it sincerely, just everything made sense to me. And I was like, okay, so the Lord shows up, he's calling this guy, and this guy feels unworthy. So then the Lord, this is what happens next. He says, then one of the seraphim, an angel, flew unto me, having a live coal in his hands, and he had taken the tongs off the altar, and he laid it upon my mouth, and said, lo, this has touched thy lips, and thy iniquity is taken away, and thy sins are purged. And for whatever reason, I knew like what that symbolically meant, that the atonement of Jesus Christ had taken place in Isaiah's life, and the Lord had pronounced him clean, forgiven, worthy to do whatever the Lord wanted him to do next. And now, remind you, I just said this prayer. I'm like, God, is there something you want me to be doing? Verse 8 happens. Also, I heard the voice of the Lord saying, whom shall I send? And who will go for us? Then I said, here am I, send me. And that felt like God had wrote that verse for me. And I was like, I just remember like tears are pouring out. And like, I'm having these experiences with emotion that I'm like never had in my life. Right? Like, I'm an athlete, you get hurt, you just suck it up. You don't cry about anything. And I'm just like, I'm crying. I'm just like, for whatever reason, I interpreted that was like, God wants me to serve a mission. So I go back to Bishop E. Croft. I said, Bishop, and it's been like 2-3 weeks. I don't know, something like that. Maybe a month. I said, Bishop, what do I have to do to serve a mission? I remember this bishop was like, what? His face was like, are you being serious? And I was just like, I have had some crazy experience with Bishop that I cannot deny. And I need to know, what do I need to do to serve a mission? And he said something to the effect of like, I've never worked with someone like you and them wanting to turn their life around and serve a mission. Like, I don't know. I need to call a stake president. So I'm like, well, call him, tell him everything, and ask him what I need to do. So I'm driving home from my stake center, and like, I don't know, 5 minutes goes by, and then he calls me. He says, Kyle, I just got done talking with the stake president, and here's what you need to do. Because of everything you've done in your life, you need to write a letter to the first presidency. I'm like, done. I was just like, because I had this experience, I was like, I'll do whatever it takes. So He's like, okay, we need to come together again. And for those who don't know this process, you go meet with your bishop, and they just ask you to tell your story. And then they'll stop you and be like, hey, so how many times did that happen in your life? And then you have to like figure out like, they want very specific details of first presidency, because they're trying to figure out, like, can this missionary represent the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints? Right? That's what it says in the handbook. And so I'm telling them like how many times I drank, smoked, did things with girls, like, and everything, just everything you can imagine. And so by the end, I remember it was like 2 or 3 pages of just like craziness. So then what happens, you go be a stake president. And meanwhile, you're also filling out your mission papers, because if it goes through, you get a mission call. So I'm doing my mission preppers, meet with my stake president. Stake president reviews the letter. Hey, is there anything else you want to add? Anything you're missing? Anything you've thought about? You add a few more details that you remember. And then they send it off to the church office building. Church office building has representatives that will present it to the first presidency. And then if they approve it, they'll take your mission papers, submit them. You'll get your mission call, and that's how it goes. So I'm geeked. I'm like, I'm getting a mission call. I'm going on a mission. So I go into my coach. Mind you, I'm a walk-on, and I just got into the first team reps. I'm like, hey, coach, I need a red shirt. I'm going on a mission. And he's like, what? No, season starts in like a week and a half. What are you talking about? I'm like, yeah, I'm going on a mission. I got to go. And he's like, kind of, I'm LDS. Like, do you have your mission call? And I was like, no. He's like, your mission paper's in? I was like, no. And he's like, pause. He's like, slow down. I was like, listen, coach, I know it don't make sense, but I'm telling you right now, like, Jesus Christ has literally saved my life, and I need to go on a mission. And I know, like, I'm sorry. I know I walked on this season. I know I progressed. I know you're rotating me in. I know I'm sorry. Like, I know all of this, and I'm sorry, but I need to go. And he was just like, oh, okay, whatever. Like, I can't commit you otherwise. Like, go. So I defer that school semester, and I'm just like, I got to get out of here. And I leave. I go back to Provo. No mission call. Nothing's been gone through. No updates, nothing. And I just get there. And I'm just like waiting. And I'm so jazzed. And then I remember this one day, my phone lights up, Bishop E. Croft. I'm like, bro, this is it. And I pick up the phone, and he goes, hey, Kyler, what are you doing? And as soon as he started talking, I was like, they said no. They said no. And so we're talking, and I was like, I'm just sitting here at my kitchen table. Like, just got done saying my scriptures, preach my gospel, all that good stuff. And I could tell he was choked up. Like, Bishop Croft was like a farming man, very, very good man, but wasn't like, I mean, I think he was emotional as a bishop, but I think this was really hard for him. I could tell his emotion. He said, Kyle, I'm so sorry, but they rejected you to go on your mission. They said you can do a service mission. Like you said, you can try to like reapply in a couple of years, but I'm so sorry. And when he said that, I was just like, no. I was like, oh, Bishop, makes perfect sense. Don't worry about it. It's okay. And for whatever reason, I was like more concerned about him than me at that time. He's like, I don't even remember how the conversation ended. But as soon as it ended, I remember this fury, this anger just shot through my whole body. And I put on my gym clothes, and I just sprinted to my old elementary school, which was like 1.5 miles, 2 miles away. But I'm like dead sprint, just on a dead sprint there. And I get there, and I went, and it's during summertime. No kids are there. No one's there. And there was this big field in the back of my elementary school. And I remember I was just screaming at God. I was like, what is your freaking problem? Like, I just gave you my life, dude. Like, I left girls, I left my boys, I left football, I left everything, scholarship, like everything. And I was just so mad. And then there was this baseball on the ground. I grabbed the baseball and I chucked it at this light, and it just hits it and shatters it. And I just remember sitting there like, that wasn't good. Like, here we are again, breaking the law. And so I sprint back home, get my gear on, and I'm just like so mad. And my mom caught me when I came home. And I remember her just being like, this isn't right. You've worked so hard. You give up so much. This isn't right. We need to talk to someone. We need to find who to talk to. I'm like, Mom, it's over. Let it go. And I remember like, I was emotional. I was eating some rice, and she asked me like, what, anyways, I just break down. I'm just like, it's over. Let it go. My mom does the walkout thing, goes to her room, starts crying, praying. I don't know how many days later, weeks, I don't know. But it's time later, I finally like gather myself. And in between that time, I went out, in my head, I was like, well, I'm not going on a mission. Might as well just go like back to my old ways. So I call up some buddies. We go to this party at Salt Lake, meet some girls. This girl, we go to her house. There's all this stuff there. And she invites me to her room, right? Things start to happen. And I just remember like this thought came to me, like, did you really come this far to just throw it all away? And so in the situation that usually would progress to something bad, and it had already progressed to some things, but like it would have gotten worse. I stop and I'm like, hey, I can't do this. And she was so pissed. She was just like, what? I was like, I know, I'm sorry. Like, I'm really sorry. I know you're in a vulnerable state right now, but I can't do this. She's just like, then get the F out there. Like, just leave. I'm like, yeah, that makes sense. So I get in my car, I drive from Salt Lake to Provo, and I'm just sitting there. I'm like, what the freak was that? Like, why did you do that? And sometime later, so in between that time I make this mistake, sometime later, I'm at the gym. I have my Dixie State gear on. I'm working out, doing pec flies. And I was still in incredible shape because it really wasn't that long since I was just on a football team playing college ball. And doing pec flies, this guy walks up to me. And I'm still like pissed about my situation, my life, where I'm at. And he goes, and he like kind of like waves at me. I have my headphones on. I move my headphone over. I'm like, yeah. He's like, hey, you play football? Mind you, it says Dixie State football. I'm like, no. And he was so like, what? He like paused and was like, you don't play football? I was like, nope. And then he looks at my shirt. He's like, says Dixie State football. Where'd you get that? I was like, it's mine. He's like, how old are you? I was like, I'm 19. And he's like, that's your Dixie State football shirt. You're 19 years old. So you used to play for Dixie. I was like, yeah, I'm retired. And he goes, pretty young to be retired, don't you think? And I was like, it's a long story, bro. Do you have something to say? And he was just like, sorry. And and he's like, listen, I'm a recruiter for BYU. And for whatever reason, I just felt like I needed to come talk to you and invite you to come with me to meet Bronco Mendenhall. Now, mind you, I'm a Pro Bowl boy. My dad played for BYU, held records there. So growing up, the goal was always do exactly what dad did. So this guy's talking to me and he's like, I'm a recruiter for BYU. I'm like, oh, hey, yeah. Oh, like all of a sudden my whole demeanor changed. I'm being all, oh yeah, man, sorry. And he's like, he's like, what's your story? Like, why are you here? I was like, it's a long story, man. But nevertheless, like, yeah, I'd love to come with you. Long story short, we go meet Bronco Mendenhall. Bronco says, yes, I know who your dad is. I remember who you were. I remember watching high school. Like, would love for you to come walk on. I'm like, cool. And he's like, all I need you to do is get your ecclesiastical endorsement. Then he goes, how was your grades? I was like, I kind of made a lot of mistakes at Dixie and they're not great. He's like, all right, I'll write a letter. We'll get you in. It'll be fine. He's like, just get the ecclesiastical endorsement. So now, I'm going back to church, but I had this like mistake, this big one that I'm like, and I knew when I was going to do the ecclesiastical endorsement, like that was going to come up. So ecclesiastical endorsement is just a temple recommend. And maybe it's changed since I've been there, but nevertheless, they go through the temple recommend questions. They get to the law of chastity. I'm like, I'm with this new bishop that has no idea who I am, right? Because I just moved home to go on a mission. And so I'm talking with him. He's like, I'm really sorry. Like, I can't override this. Like, you have to go to the stake president and whatever he says goes. I'm like, okay. And like, part of me is like, Kyler, this is your own fault. Like, you don't blame these guys. So I go to this stake president. We've never met before, right? I'm just trying to get ecclesiastical endorsement to play ball. Hopefully my life starts to go. And once again, this is a part where I'm like, explain to me without God this story. Like, what are the chances of this happening? So I sit down. He's like, hey, tell me your name. Tell me about yourself. I'm Kyler Hamilton. He's like, well, I'm President Lasparty. Good to meet you. And he's like getting like some stuff out. In my head, this is what I remember. But we're grabbing like the computer and his book and stuff. And he's like, cool. So just an ecclesiastical endorsement for BYU. And sounds like you're trying to play football. I'm like, yeah, I'm trying to play football. Dream. It's my dream. It's, X, Y, Z. Start going through the interview. And he pauses and he's like, remind me why you're here. Here. I was like, I'm just ecclesiastical endorsement. Just trying to play football for BYU. And he's like, okay. Asks a few more questions, then he pauses again. And he goes, why are you here, Kyler? And I'm like, I mean, you're old, but you're not that old, brother. I'm like, just to get my ecclesiastical endorsement, go to BYU, play football. And he's like, okay. And then he asked again. But this time I could hear my mom in the back of my head. This isn't right. We got to talk to somebody, anybody. We got to talk to someone. And that just came to my mind. So I was just like, okay, here we go. I said, well, I actually was at Duke State. Here's all the things that happened. I wrote a letter to the first president. Well, I changed my life around, wrote a letter to the first presidency, trying to go on a mission. They rejected me. Now I'm stuck here in Provo. Don't know what to do. Just met a recruiter, blah, blah, blah. And so I tell him, like, I wrote the letter to the first presidency and I get rejected. And he says, is that right? And he starts laughing. And I'm like, excuse me, sir. Like, I just told you something very personal. Don't laugh at me. And like, he goes, Kyler, you want to know what I do for work? I'm like, what? He's like, I work at the church office building. I work in the missionary department. And right now, my assignment is when people make a lot of mistakes, they go through this process where they meet with their bishop, then they meet with their stake president. Their stake president okays this letter, and they send it to the church office building, and it ends up in my office. He said, I probably read your letter. I was probably the one who presented you to the first presidency and the members of the missionary council. He's like, I probably was the one who stamped it. He said, nope, we can't send this kid on a mission and send it to your stake president. Your stake president called your bishop called you and told you no. He's like, that probably all came from me. And I was just like, I don't know if I should punch you or like, I was just like so lost.
Right.
But I'm sitting there, I'm like, there's no way this is the same dude. And then remind you, like, I'm sitting here on the cusp of like my dream, playing at BYU, restoring the Hamilton name at BYU. And he goes, Kylie, do you still want to serve a mission? And it just jumped out of my mouth. Like, yes, I don't want to do anything more than serve a mission. He said, okay, well, let's figure some things out. He opens his briefcase, grabs a different computer, goes through it, and pulls up my letter, the one that I wrote to the first presidency. He had it. I was like, wow, bro, this is crazy. And so then he starts interviewing me. He starts asking me a few questions. He's like, okay, I just want to go over a few things from this letter. He goes, how many times did this happen? And I was like, I don't know. I know that happened, but I can't remember what I wrote. He's like, it's okay. Don't try to remember what you wrote. Just tell me how many times you think it happened. So I was like, okay. So he goes to another question. How many times does this happen? So I'm like, I honestly can't even give you a number. He's like, okay, that's fine. And in my head, I'm like, I'm failing this test. Like I'm butchering this test. And he's going to be like, okay, dude, sorry, never mind. Like this is, So then it goes a couple more questions. And I think maybe I got like one or two, but like it gets to another one. I'm like, I'm really sorry, President. Like, I don't know. And then he just smiled and said, and that's a good thing. And I was like, why is that a good thing? He said, it just shows me that the atonement of Jesus Christ has really taken place in your life. He said, Kyle, if you really want to serve in Michigan, I'll go to bat for you. And I'll represent you for your mission. I said, please. A couple months later, I received a call to the Dominican Republic, Santiago mission. Ended up leaving on my mission a few months later, and my life's never been the same.
Wow.
So yeah, I went out, but only because God got me out.
That story and journey is incredible. I think that officially we're gonna have to do a part 2 of your story, but I love how you can see and you can connect the dots.
Yeah.
Where Heavenly Father was there and present and aware of who you were and where you needed to be. It's incredible. Like I've been there. Like I walked on at Idaho State for basketball, and walking on is no joke. Like the amount of work you have to do, right? And So to be able to have the wherewithal and know yourself enough to when follow the spirit, like those promptings, right? And even when you mess up, to understand and follow the atonement of Jesus Christ is just an incredible story. I appreciate it. We're going to be out of time right now, but if you're willing, love to do a part 2 at some point and hear the
Yeah.
rest of your story, because I know it's just beginning.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, for sure. And I just want to like maybe close with this, that like when you say like following the promptings, connecting the dots, like, and I think this is important to me because I didn't know in the moment. Like when Nephi said, I went forward not knowing beforehand, but I had no idea. I sincerely was just like, I had a desire. I wanted to be somewhere, and God got me there. And so like, if anyone's listening to this and they're like, "Man, I'm in the same boat," like just keep going towards the light. Just keep going towards goodness, and like let the desire that you truly have be the one that you're chasing. And God will get you there. Like, I don't care what it is. If it's aligned with God's will, He will literally get you there. And so I really appreciate it. But like looking back in my life is when I've been able to make the connect the dots. But in the moment, I was just like, that's what I want. I want to do,
Yeah.
I felt like God called me and I wanted to do something about it.
Well, and that righteous desire help those
Yeah.
decision-making process, right? Like,
Yeah.
I just want to go serve a mission. Like
Yeah.
in that moment, if you don't say anything about that, you probably go walk on at BYU and, you know, who knows what happens, right? But
Right.
I really appreciate it. I would love to have you on again for part 2. Do you want to give a quick plug for your podcast?
Sure. Sure. Uh, my podcast is called We Talk Of. I developed this because, like I said, the last 11 years, I've been at SNI. The last 10 years, me and my wife have been in bishoprics, and I've noticed one gap over and over and over again, that parents, leaders, friends are not having the conversations they should be having to allow kids to know to what source to turn to when they need help with certain topics or things. And so it's all about just like, how do I generate the conversation about the hard things, right? Whether it be testimony, conversion, uh, the priesthood ban, I mean, whatever it may be, drugs, alcohol, like just figuring out like, how do I bring that conversation up? And how do I talk to someone about it so that the hope would be is that they do turn to the Savior. And so that's everything I'm trying to do, is just help people understand how to have the conversations outside of like, yes, we should be doing Come Follow Me. Yes, we should be reading the Book of Mormon, but we should also be having conversations consistently about the gospel of Jesus Christ and the blessings that come from it.
Perfect. Perfect. Well, definitely go check out Kyler's podcast. You can check out his story, and we're going to give some plugs and definitely break down a lot of what he did today. But this has been another True Conversion. Let's be real. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, all the podcast platforms, and on YouTube. And so, Kyler, part 2. Yeah, can we pencil you
100%.
in?
Yeah, let's go
100%.
back to it. Yeah,
We're
100%.
we're gonna definitely run it back. So this has been Kyler's story for True Conversion. Let's be real. I'm Brennan. We're gonna leave you with if I don't see you, good afternoon, good evening, and good night.